The disciples sat beneath a sprawling banyan tree, listening intently to the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. Sujata approached the Buddha, her steps hesitant, her face shadowed by an inexplicable sadness. "Master," Ananda began, his voice trembling, "I cannot stop comparing myself to others and finding myself lacking." The Buddha's eyes met, Ananda's, filled with understanding and compassion. As he prepared to guide his disciple's heart, "Walk with me," he said, gesturing toward a path leading to a nearby lotus pond. Sujata followed, her heart heavy yet curious about what the master might reveal. The pond was serene, its surface shimmering with light, the lotus flowers floating gently amidst their leaves. The Buddha knelt by the water's edge, his eyes fixed on the roots beneath the surface. "Do you see the roots of the lotus?" the Buddha asked, his voice calm yet purposeful. Sujata nodded, noticing the intricate network of roots embedded deeply into the earth below. "The lotus blooms beautifully for the world to see," he continued. "But its life depends on its roots. Unseen yet vital." Sujata sat beside him, her gaze fixed on the pond as if searching for answers in its tranquil reflection. "What do you mean, Master?" she asked, her tone hesitant but eager to understand. The Buddha smiled gently, a serene expression that carried no judgment, only wisdom shared through countless teachings. "Loneliness often arises not from lack of companions but from disconnection with your own inner essence," the Buddha said. His words carried a weight, a truth that seemed both simple and profound, echoing in the stillness of the moment. Just as the lotus needs the soil to nourish its roots, you must nurture the soil within your spirit. Sujata felt a stirring in her heart, a sense that she was glimpsing something beyond her usual understanding of life. The Buddha continued, his voice steady yet filled with compassion for the pain that weighed her down. "When you lose connection with yourself, you lose the capacity to feel whole, even amidst the presence of others." As the ripples on the pond settled, Sujata felt as though her reflection was reaching toward her with a quiet invitation. "Master, how do I reconnect with my inner essence?" she asked, her voice tinged with both hope and fear of what she might discover. The Buddha gestured toward the lotus blooms once more, their grace unbroken despite the stillness of the water. "To reconnect, begin by embracing silence and introspection," the Buddha explained, his words flowing as calmly as the pond's surface. "In solitude, observe the thoughts and emotions that rise, just as you would observe the flowers floating here." Sujata nodded, though uncertainty lingered in her eyes, the challenge of facing herself weighing heavily on her spirit. "Embrace your fears as you would a friend," the Buddha continued, his gaze unwavering as he spoke. "They are shadows that seek not to harm but to reveal what lies beneath them." Sujata's breath caught as she realized the depth of his teachings, the simplicity yet complexity of reconnecting with herself. "You are never truly alone," the Buddha said, his words resonating with a clarity that seemed to pierce through the fog of Sujata's doubts. "Loneliness is but a veil, concealing the connection you already hold within your soul." The ripples on the pond began to settle into stillness, mirroring the calm Sujata felt beginning to emerge in her heart. As Sujata rose, she felt as though the roots of her inner self were slowly beginning to extend into the nourishing soil of understanding. The Buddha watched her silently, his expression one of quiet satisfaction, knowing that the seed of transformation had been planted. Sujata returned to the banyan tree, her heart lighter, her mind clearer, her spirit touched by a profound sense of clarity. The disciples watched her return, sensing a change in her demeanor, as though she carried within her the echoes of newfound peace. Though no words were exchanged, they felt the teachings of the Buddha reflected in her every movement. The Buddha remained by the pond, his gaze fixed on the roots of the lotus, knowing the journey of understanding was ongoing for all. Another day, Another lesson beneath the banyan tree. The disciples sat quietly, their eyes fixed upon the Buddha's serene face. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating patterns on the ground, resembling intricate designs of wisdom written in nature. Ananda, the youngest of the disciples, stepped forward, his expression troubled but eager for guidance. Master, how can one find connection when the world feels indifferent and unkind? Ananda asked, his voice tinged with confusion. The Buddha's gaze softened, reflecting both compassion and a deep understanding of the question's significance. Come with me, the Buddha said, gesturing toward a simple path leading to a nearby hill. The two walked side by side, the earth firm beneath their feet, the gentle breeze carrying whispers of distant echoes. Reaching the summit of the hill, the Buddha picked up a mirror from a small basket left by travelers. He held it in his hand, letting it catch the sunlight streaming across the landscape. What do you see, Ananda? The Buddha asked, turning the mirror toward the disciple. Ananda hesitated, then answered, I see my face, Master, reflected in the glass. The Buddha smiled and adjusted the angle, allowing the sunlight to cast a reflection onto the earth below. Now, what do you see? The Buddha asked again, his tone calm and deliberate. Ananda gazed at the beam of light that danced across the grass, its brilliance undeniable and captivating. The light, Master, shining on the earth, Ananda replied, his voice filled with wonder at the transformation of the image. This mirror reflects light only when it is clean and directed properly, the Buddha explained, his words carefully chosen. When clouded by dust or turned inward in fear, it fails to illuminate anything beyond itself. Ananda listened intently, his heart beginning to grasp the significance of the lesson hidden within the simple object. Your heart is like this mirror, Ananda, the Buddha continued, his gaze steady but gentle. Dust clouds it, obscuring its ability to shine, to connect, to reflect truth. Ananda shifted slightly, uncomfortable but aware of the weight of his master's words and their profound implications. Dust accumulates through fear, pride, and resentment, the Buddha said, his voice steady as the breeze around them. These are not enemies, but obstacles to be understood and cleared. Ananda nodded slowly, the simplicity yet depth of the teaching beginning to resonate within him. To find connection, clear the dust that clouds your mirror, the Buddha said, raising the mirror once more. The light within you is radiant, waiting to be revealed, waiting to illuminate the paths of others. Ananda's gaze returned to the beam of light dancing across the earth, a reflection of hope and infinite possibility. But Master, how do I clear the dust? Ananda asked, his tone filled with both earnestness and uncertainty. The Buddha smiled, his expression one of infinite patience and encouragement. Begin by acknowledging the dust itself. Facing it without judgment, the Buddha said, his voice calm as the skies above. Fear is born of misunderstanding. Pride arises from insecurity, and resentment grows from attachment, the Buddha explained, his words unwavering. Recognize them as shadows cast by inner turmoil, not as truths defining your being. Ananda lowered his head, humbled yet inspired by the clarity of his master's insights. Seek clarity through acts of compassion, humility, and introspection, the Buddha said, his tone steady and profound. Each act wipes away the layers of dust, allowing your light to shine freely. Ananda raised his head, his heart heavy but hopeful, the pathway forward beginning to emerge in his mind. As you clear the dust, your light will reflect truth, illuminating not only your path but the paths of others, the Buddha said. His voice carried a certainty that resonated deeply within Ananda's spirit, a certainty born of wisdom shared through generations. Connection begins within, then extends outward, revealing the threads of unity that bind us all, the Buddha said, his words flowing like a gentle stream. Ananda bowed deeply, the weight of understanding filling the space left by previous doubts and fears. The disciples gathered once more beneath the banyan tree, sensing a change within Ananda's demeanor. His movements lighter, his gaze clearer. Ananda held the mirror in his hands, letting its surface catch the sunlight, a reflection of lessons learned and shared. Though the dust remained, he understood now how to clear it, one act of clarity at a time. The Buddha sat silently, his gaze resting on Ananda, knowing that transformation begins not with perfection but with recognition of truth. The sunlight continued to dance across the earth, its brilliance echoing the radiant potential within every heart willing to uncover its light. Another day, another question arose beneath the shade of the ancient banyan tree. The disciples gathered, their hearts seeking wisdom. The air carried the scent of rain, the forest vibrant after the storm had cleansed its depths. The Buddha gazed at the sky, his expression thoughtful, then spoke gently to his disciples. "Do you see the spider weaving its web above us?" The Buddha asked, his tone inviting but purposeful. The disciples raised their eyes, observing the delicate threads forming patterns that seemed both fragile and enduring. "Master, what lesson does the spider's web hold for us?" One disciple asked, curiosity mingling with reverence. "The spider's web stretches across spaces unseen, binding together strands that would otherwise remain isolated," the Buddha said. His voice resonated with a calm certainty that drew the disciples into the meaning behind his words. Each thread represents a thought, an action, or a connection, forming a tapestry of interdependence in the vastness of existence. The disciples watched the spider's movements, intricate and deliberate, each thread finding its place within the web's unfolding design. Loneliness arises when you perceive yourself as detached from this infinite web of life, the Buddha explained. You see only the gaps, not the threads binding all together. One disciple, Kumara, stepped forward, his expression revealing the weight of his thoughts. "Master, how do we acknowledge these threads when life feels fragmented and disconnected?" he asked, his tone filled with uncertainty. The Buddha smiled, his gaze resting briefly upon Kumara, then spoke softly. "To acknowledge these threads, begin by recognizing the subtle connections surrounding you," the Buddha said. Each smile, each word of kindness, each shared moment contributes to the web of existence. Kumara nodded, though his brow furrowed, as though grappling with the depth of the teaching. "Look not only outward, but inward," the Buddha continued, gesturing toward his heart. "Understand that your presence itself is a thread in the web, vital and purposeful." Kumara's gaze shifted to the spider above, seeing its movements in a new light, deliberate yet unhurried. "But Master," Kumara asked hesitantly, "how do we maintain the strength of the threads when they appear fragile?" The Buddha raised his hand, allowing the light to filter through his fingers, a gesture that invited reflection. "A thread remains strong through care and mindfulness," the Buddha replied. "Connection is nurtured through intention, respect, and understanding." The disciples watched as the storm's aftermath revealed new growth in the forest, the leaves glistening with renewed vitality. "Seek not connection through clinging, but through recognizing the interdependence of all things," the Buddha said. Each thread supports another, forming an intricate and enduring design. "But Master," Kumara said, his voice quiet but firm, "what happens when a thread breaks, leaving gaps in the web?" The Buddha observed the spider above, noting its response as it mended a broken strand with careful movements. "When a thread breaks, the web does not fall apart," the Buddha said. The spider continues weaving, adapting to the changes in its design. The disciples contemplated this truth, realizing that the web reflected their own lives, where loss and renewal coexist. Loneliness is not the absence of connection but the illusion of separation, the Buddha said. Recognize the threads binding you to the infinite, and the illusion will dissolve. The disciples sat quietly, their hearts and minds stirred by the wisdom woven into the episode. Kumara bowed deeply, gratitude reflecting in his eyes, a quiet acknowledgement of the light revealed within his doubts. The Buddha turned his gaze back to the spider, a living symbol of resilience and unity in the face of impermanence. The forest echoed the sounds of life, the voices of its inhabitants blending into a symphony that spoke of connection without words. The disciples rose, each carrying within them the lesson of the infinite web, a truth both simple and profound. They returned to their paths, their steps lighter, their hearts enriched with a renewed sense of belonging. The Buddha remained beneath the banyan tree, his presence a quiet affirmation of the interconnected nature of existence. Above him, the spider continued weaving, each thread finding its place within the infinite tapestry of life. The Buddha led them further, to the edge of the village, where a farmer was tending to a field of rice and wheat. The golden stalks swayed gently in the breeze, their movement a graceful dance of unity and individuality. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.